Hit play and test your memory. If pop is our shared language, these 20 voices are the alphabet. No filler, no repeats, just the singers who changed charts, culture, and how we feel. From Sinatra's phrasing to Beyoncé's precision, from Elvis's shockwave to Taylor's pen, every pick is fact-checked on impact, records, and lasting influence. Before we start, drop your top 3 in the comments, no cheating, and see who you still stand by when we reach number 1. Ready? Let's count down the greatest pop singers of all time.
His words can bring me down.
I first heard Beautiful on cheap speakers that made everything sound thin, except her voice. It came in like a steady hand, not a lecture. I was a kid pretending I didn't care what people said about me.
No matter what they say, words can.
Then, Christina said the quiet part out loud. The doubt, the mirror, the names. The piano kept a small flame. The melody gave it air. When the chorus rose, it didn't feel like a power note. It felt like a decision.
Bring me down.
Her melisma, the runs everyone joked about, didn't show off. They searched like someone finding the right key to a locked door. The video made it bigger. Different people, same ache, but the impact was personal. I remember standing a little straighter the next day for no special reason.
Oh, no, no. So don't you bring me down.
The song didn't change my life in one play. It changed how I spoke to myself in small ways. And that's the kind of change that lasts. "You are beautiful" wasn't a compliment. It was instructions. The first time this hit me, it was all light and motion. Just a synth line, a heartbeat, a whisper that slipped under the door. We'd been dancing to bigger records with bigger drums, but this one made the room float. Kylie didn't push, she glided. That la 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 hook was almost nothing. Yet it filled every corner. I watched strangers mouth the words without realizing it. The way you breathe along with a wave. Kylie's magic is longevity without strain. She walks beside trends, never behind them, never chasing. In this song, she built a world out of restraint. Clean lines, no clutter, just pulse and promise. After midnight, when the crowd thinned and the floor cooled, I still heard it under the neon, a lingering echo that made the night feel longer than it was. Some hooks are loud. This one was inevitable. I didn't come to this as a Beatles scholar. I found it by accident, late, when the city was quiet and my head wasn't. The piano sounded like a letter someone meant to send and never did. Paul sings Devotion like he's discovering it in real time. No perfect hero, just a man stunned by the ordinary miracle of being loved. The guitar doesn't shred. It argues, pleads, then agrees. I remember thinking, pop spends a lot of time describing love, but this feels like the part after the fireworks when you sit together and decide to keep showing up. The melody is so strong you think you've known it since childhood, but it still surprises you at the turn. When he lifts into the higher lines, it isn't drama. It's gratitude catching in the throat. I turned the volume down to keep the moment from breaking.
Help me to understand.
Some songs build you a house. This one hands you the keys. Before the chorus even landed, the rah rah ah 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 cracked open the ceiling. I watched a timid friend transform in real time, shoulders back, eyes fierce, like a costume had zipped itself onto her spine. Gaga took performance art, masks, claws, couture, and wired it straight into pop electricity. The production is chrome and sparks. The melody is theater you can yell along with. Under the spectacle, the lyric says something uncomfortable. We want the whole mess, even the parts that hurt, because intimacy without risk feels like a lie. I saw that in the room. People laughing, then singing like confession. Pop gets called disposable, but nothing about this felt disposable. It felt like a ritual, a way to try on a braver version of yourself for 4 minutes and keep a piece of it when the song ends. When the last chorus hit, we weren't imitating Gaga, we were rehearsing courage. The stomp came first, boots on old wood, then a voice that sounded like it knew the weight of the word enough. I'd heard breakup songs that begged, blamed, bargained. This one set a boundary and built a cathedral around it. Adele doesn't need tricks. The grit in her tone is the trick. The backing vocals answer her like a choir that long ago picked a side. I remember thinking about every version of myself that stayed a little too long, and how much of healing is just choosing not to go back.
Think of me in the depths of your despair.
Chorus doesn't sprint, it marches, and you march with it. When the last hit falls, the silence feels like a cleared room, dust settling, light returning. She didn't only revive the big ballad, she repaired its spine. This song arrived like weather you could time your day by. The hi-hats were rain on windows. The Ella Ella was shelter. I heard it on buses and shop doorways, bleeding from tiny phone speakers, and somehow it always sounded confident. Rihanna sings like she owns the negative space. The cool between the syllables. It made friendship sound glamorous and loyalty sound effortless. The track is sleek but warm. The swagger never smothers the tenderness.
When the sunshine will shine together. Told you I'll be here forever.
I remember a summer storm breaking as the hook came around again, and a group of us ran laughing through it, not to get out of the rain, but to be inside the song. People chase anthem energy. This one didn't chase. It hovered above us and we stepped under it. That first rockabilly strum is a wink. Lean in, we're about to have some fun. George had this velvet steel mix, effortlessly smooth, then suddenly precise, like a dancer hitting a perfect stop. I fed coins into a jukebox once just to keep that swing alive while we tried to look cooler than we felt. The rhythm section walks forward with purpose. His phrasing rides it like a surfer who knows the break. On paper, it's simple. In practice, it's chemistry. Pop, soul, flirtation, self-possession. George didn't have to outsing anyone. He outstyled gravity. When the organ slips in near the end, it's a sly grin. I left the cafe lighter than I entered, which is a quiet superpower Pop almost never gets credit for. I rolled my eyes until the key change found me. Then, I stopped pretending I was immune. Celine's control is a lighthouse. No wobble, no panic. Guiding you through waters you swore you'd never revisit.
You opened the door.
I heard it first on a living room TV. The flute intro like a door opening to a memory I didn't want to check. By the chorus, the room lifted. It isn't subtle, it isn't trying to be. It's a promise shouted across distance. I will carry what we were, even when the world sinks. People call it melodrama. Maybe.
Once more.
But sometimes life is melodrama, and the only honest response is scale. When she holds that final note, your resistance isn't defeated, it's forgiven.
Much, but it's the best I can do.
This felt like overhearing a private moment. Tender and a little clumsy in the best way. It's a little bit funny. The exact tone of someone admitting they care more than they planned. Elton's voice has a smile tucked inside it.
My gift is my song, yeah.
The piano answers like a friend who knows when not to joke. The lyric doesn't chase poetry, it trips into it, which is how real love letters are written. I first listened properly on a cold morning, breath fogging the window.
And you can tell everybody this is your song.
Thinking of someone I couldn't impress with grand gestures. This song said I didn't need to. Just tell the truth and mean it. Pop so often aims for fireworks. Here, the sparkler is enough, and the light lasts longer than you expect. I wasn't there in the 60s, but I met this song at a diner that smelled like coffee and stories. Sinatra doesn't belt. He leans in and lets consonants dance. The band is tight as a suit.
All I worship and adore.
Swing makes the room stand taller. I watched a couple in their 70s move like they'd invented the steps. Tiny smiles between them that said, "We still know how."
In other words,
People call him a crooner, but that undersells the craft. Every syllable placed, every pause a wink. Modern pop stars owe him more than phrasing tricks. They owe him the idea that style can be substance. When the last "Please Be True" lands, the world looks a shade more romantic, and you tip the waitress a little extra without knowing why.
like a river flow.
I watched a proposal happen to this song. No spotlight, no stage. Just a quiet room and hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Elvis didn't have to push. His voice sat warm and steady, like someone speaking a promise they'd tested in real life.
Like a river flows surely to the sea.
The melody felt older than the room, older than any of us, like it already knew the answer and was kindly waiting for us to catch up. I understood why people called him a phenomenon.
If I can.
He took the spark of early rock and roll and sanded it into something the whole world could hold. The arrangement is gentle, no fireworks, no fuss. And that restraint lets the words feel true. I didn't clap when it ended. I breathed out. Some songs beg for attention. This one earns your trust. Pop can be a shout, but it can also be a hand you decide to take. That night, they said yes. We all did.
Saying just how your love can do what no one else can. Got me looking so crazy right now. Your love's got me looking.
The horns didn't enter. They burst in. I felt gravity loosen the moment they hit. Shoulders up, heartbeat faster. Like the room had been waiting for an excuse to become a runway. Beyoncé's power isn't just volume, it's precision. Every breath lands where it should. Every ad-lib feels surgical and alive. I watched a crowd snap into formation, strangers mirroring the strut as if a metronome had passed through all of us at once. She turned excellence into a dance you could actually do. And yet, under the polish, there's heat, joy, hunger, urgency. When the uh-oh stacks, it's centuries of rhythm braided into something modern and sharp.
When I talk to my friends so quietly, who we think he is?
I remember thinking, this is what a high bar sounds like. Not impossible, just uncompromising. When it ended, the room looked the same.
Young Hov, y'all know when the flow is loco. Young B and the ROC. OG.
But it didn't feel the same. Perfection had walked through, left footprints, and we were all standing a little taller inside them.
They'll tell you I'm insane, but I've got a blank space, babe.
I heard this one like a short story with a mischievous grin. The production is light on its feet, but the writing carries a blade. Clean lines, little twists, a chorus you can shout, and a verse you can quote.
When it's over, if the high was worth the pain, go on.
Taylor does something rare here. She flips the myth about herself into the hook, then invites you to sing along to the joke. I was in a car with friends who had very different taste, but
Cherry lips, crystal skies, I can show you incredible.
by the second chorus, we were all in on it, counting red flags like punchlines. The bridge isn't just smart, it's fun, and that matters. Plenty of songs claim to be clever.
Baby, I'm your queen. Find out what you want. Be that girl for
This one makes clever feel communal. Pop often chases a feeling. Blank space names it, mocks it, and still makes you dance to it.
filled with thorns. Keep you stacking gas like, oh my God, who is
That night, I learned you can turn narrative into confetti and still keep the meaning intact. We hit replay and felt like co-authors. The guitar arrived like violet smoke rising toward the rafters. I was in a theater the first time. Lights low, crowd quiet. And by the second verse, I wasn't sure if we were at a concert or a ceremony. Prince could be everything at once. Funk, rock, gospel, pop, all distilled into a single aching plea. The band built the space, but he filled it with feelings so direct it felt private. When the solo opened, people didn't scream. They exhaled like the room had been holding its breath. The last chorus didn't crash. It lifted, a tide carrying us somewhere gentler than we started. I walked out a little stunned, like I'd just seen color I didn't know existed. Some songs try to be epic by getting louder. This one gets deeper. It reminds you that pop is not a genre. It's a meeting point where everything true can live for 4 or 5 minutes. This didn't feel like a request. It felt like a door opening and the furniture sliding into place. The groove walks with purpose, and Aretha's voice, holy and human, turns the air electric. I watched a room change shapes when the letters spelled themselves out, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. And suddenly backs were straighter, smiles wider, conversations braver. Aretha didn't just sing over the band. She led it like a conductor who also happened to be the storm. You can trace 1,000 modern hits back to this approach. Gospel fire fused to pop form. Message braided into motion. I've heard iconic pinned on songs that don't earn it. This one does, because you don't just hear it, you stand with it. By the time the fades ride out, you're not a bystander. You're part of the chorus, part of the claim. And the claim is simple. Dignity, counted out in perfect time. The clavinet didn't play. It skipped like a heartbeat that learned to dance. I saw musicians watch each other play this live, grin, then shake their heads when they felt how tightly every part locks in. The drums nudging, the horns punctuating, the vocal gliding between warning and joy. Stevie writes hope without pretending life is easy. The lyric says, be careful. The groove says, be joyful anyway. I remember a street festival where kids, elders, and everyone between found the pocket within seconds. No instructions, no lesson. Just groove as common language. Pop can be disposable. This is durable, built like a city where every block hums. And if one line goes dark, the rest carry the light. When the last hits land, you feel both smarter and lighter, which is rare. I left with tired feet and a calmer mind. Wisdom you can dance to, that's Stevie's signature. The first seconds feel like a breeze through an open window. Then Mariah lifts off, playful, precise, and impossibly free. I remember a friend who never sings try a run during the chorus, miss it, laugh, and try again. That's the trick. She makes virtuosity sound like joy, not homework. The melody floats while the rhythm keeps you grounded. The ad-libs sparkle without stealing the scene. By the time the whistles bloom, it feels less like showing off and more like fireworks you somehow expected. Pop can get heavy trying to prove itself. Fantasy proves itself by making happiness feel well-crafted. It's a masterclass in balance. Light touch, strong bones, no wasted motion. When it ended, the room actually felt sunnier, which sounds corny until you feel it happen. I've chased that mood more times than I can count. Press play, let the day lift. Remember that delight can be designed. The silence before the first line is a held breath. Whitney steps in softly, almost speaking, like she's setting a fragile glass on a table. Then the chorus arrives, and the room learns a new posture.
We'll always love you.
I've seen skeptics go quiet at the long note, not because it's loud, but because it's perfectly placed. Technique kneels to emotion here. The arrangement knows when to disappear and when to glow. I felt a memory I thought I'd outgrown come back kinder than I left it. People talk about the big note, but the power is in the control. The way she lets the goodbye be loving, not bitter. When the final echo fades, applause feels wrong for a second. You exhale, you look at someone you care about, you nod. Pop can flatten feelings into slogans. This one honors the shape of them and leaves you taller in your tenderness. The choir lifted first, then the groove grabbed my feet. I remember thinking, this is risky, and that's why it works. Madonna doesn't just chase controversy. She composes it, turning tension into hooks you can't shake. The verses feel like confession, the chorus like absolution, and the beat like the walk back into daylight.
I hear your voice. It's like an
She taught a whole generation that pop doesn't have to choose between meaning and movement. In a club, it's liberation. In headphones, it's argument. Either way, the melody wins. I saw people who disagree on everything sing this in the same key and leave the room more open than they entered. Reinvention is her brand, but conviction is the engine. She believes pop should evolve, and she makes you believe it too. By the last refrain, you're not deciding if you like it. You're deciding what door it just pushed open for you. The bass line arrived like a rumor you could dance to. A single snare cracked and the room tilted. Knees loosened, shoulders angled, time bent. Michael's voice lives between wonder and warning. And the track is architecture. Every element earns its place. Every space invites movement. I watched a floor full of people turn at once on the chorus as if some hidden magnet snapped into place. The story in the lyric is tight and tense. The groove is airless and alive. You don't just remember where you first heard it. You relive it every time it starts. The song doesn't beg to be iconic. It behaves like it already is. By the last chorus, we weren't imitating a moonwalk. We were weightless in our own bodies, the way great pop lets you be. And when it faded, the silence felt charged, like the lights had come up on a different era. In a way, they had. The journey doesn't end here, pop lovers. Watch this next.